Sorry about that, guys. I got a phone call and it ended that last video. So here we are again, and finishing our conclusion to this hypothesis test. So we have, since the p-value is less than alpha, we reject the null. And of course, we always have to put that conclusion in context. So that means we do have convincing evidence. Now remember, that was our question up here. Do these data provide convincing evidence that, and then you can either state the alternative in context, or you can just use the context from the question. So we're going to say we do have convincing evidence that the contest has increased participation in the Box Tops for Education program. Convincing evidence that the contest has increased participation in the Box Tops for Education program in this district. Okay, there we go. We are done with our hypothesis test. So the last part is to interpret the p-value. Oh, actually, I'm sorry. Before I move on to the p-value, I do want to indicate, again, you could have concluded this a little bit differently. You could have stated the alternative. So we have convincing evidence that the true proportion who submit Box Tops, notice I'm talking about students, is greater than 0.12, right? If we have evidence of increased participation, that means we have evidence that the true proportion is greater than 0.12. Either or is fine. Okay, so now we're ready to interpret the p-value from part B. So remember, whenever we interpret a p-value, we say assuming the null is true. So assuming the true proportion who submit Box Tops, or who, yeah, I think just that's fine, who submit Box Tops is actually 0.12. The p-value is that probability. So we say there is a, whatever the p-value is, 0.0188 probability. We could also write that as a percentage, so a 1% chance of getting whatever sample results we got. So of getting a sample proportion of what our sample proportion was, so 35 out of 210, or 0.167, or more extreme. In this case, more extreme would be higher, or higher purely by chance. And remember, the reason that we reject this null is that that's such a low probability. We think this can't really be the truth. The 0.12 can't really be the truth because that's such a low probability of getting a sample result if that is the truth. So we reject the null. We think it must actually be a higher true proportion. Okay, so that is it for the section 8-2 and 8-3 test review.